How's everyone doing? Doing great. Let's get rolling.
Just how did you assess some of the, I guess, inconsistency with Holmes' play against the Jets? I mean, they obviously have a very good defense, but that was probably the best the defense had done against him.
Yeah, I think there was when you're looking at kind of each play individually, there's a lot of factors. I thought they did a nice job challenging us in coverage, playing some tight man coverage looks. There were some times where protection was stressed and affected his ability to go through a read or make a throw, those types of things. And there were some throws that I'm sure he would like to, put in a better spot. So it's always a combination of all those things as to why those things happen. Was encouraged even after some things are not going your way to be able to drive down at the end there, get the field goal, and make some big time throws in that situation and throw the ball confidently. It was nice to see.
Hey Wes, what did you see from Ty Chandler and just filling in for Aaron Jones at the end of that game?
Yeah, Ty, unfortunately, a couple of runs that were really probably going to be our best hits of the day. Really one that you kind of got to see play out, and then really there was another one where we had a pre-snap penalty, where we had a really nice edge, where Ty would have been able to use his speed, and felt like we would have had a nice hit there as well. A couple of his better looks were unfortunately, and some things we got to clean up with some of the pre-snap operation and penalties. But otherwise it was a tough front, and they've done pretty well against the run all year, and we knew it'd be a challenge. But still would like to be able to churn out some yards there when you're committing to run the football.
I think you guys had 5 different guys with 5 different operational, or not different penalties, but just across those pre-snap penalties. What do you guys do to try to make that even more of an emphasis going into this week?
Well, yeah, I mean, as far as cadence, there is a little bit, with Sam and the group getting together, and by now it should be cleaned up. That's not any excuse or anything, but I think there is kind of a feeling out of how he goes about using the cadence through the game. We mix the cadence in practice constantly. We don't want him going on one all the time. I mean, that's kind of the easy out when someone jumps or something. The quarterback starts going on one all practice. We don't want to do that. We want to be able to use cadence as a weapon and use it. The first guys that are going to be asking for it if the D-line is really coming off the ball is the offensive line. So, that's something we always want to mix up. Some of the procedural stuff, making sure guys are getting set, making sure before someone goes in motion, all those types of things. And then, of course, we've had too many delay of game penalties, so we have to be in and out of the huddle faster. We've got to be aware of the play clock and make sure that we're not having those penalties. But we have refs at practice. They give me a sheet after practice every day. We've been a lot cleaner throughout practice. We just have to have that carry over to the game.
Wes, it seems like that's not just a problem here. I mean, I don't have any numbers or anything, but it just seems like you watch a game and there's just constant false. Even it used to be only the road team. Now it's the home team. It could be anybody jumping, or it's just not practicing as much, or you're not allowed to practice as much.
Yeah, I don't know. No, they don't want any off season at all. So, but I would argue that it's all important. I would like to see some of the numbers on that as well. But it does feel like there's a lot of flags. I know the game last night was indicative of that. So, whether they're just throwing them more or there's that many more infractions, or a combination, I don't know. But we're worried about our guys. We need to clean some of that up.
When you're seeing the kind of physical coverage that the Jets threw at Justin Jefferson, are the answers to that him kind of being able to win on the line of scrimmage, or moving him around, or kind of a combination? How do you counter that when he's getting that type of coverage?
Yeah, I think you see we move our guys around quite a bit. We're probably, I don't know the numbers there, but we're probably, up there as far as the amount of motions and movement in our pass game. But also, when you're challenged up there, working releases and using the techniques and all the things that Keenan works all the time with those guys is important as well. So, the hidden yardage is the defensive pass interference calls. I think there were 4 of them in the game that don't show up on the stat sheet, but those were also huge chunks of yards that we got because of those guys fighting through some of that contact and then fighting for the football, when it's in the air and you get those types of calls, and there's a lot of yardage there that we ended up getting.
That's why the Lions, I think in your first game against them in like 2022, they did a similar type situation where like 8 penalties or something like that. Maybe that was also partly due to officiating that day, I'm not sure. But like, I mean, how often if teams are going to do that? Like, can you just assume that the penalties are going to be called, or do you have to like think of other ways to get around that?
Yeah, we can't ever assume that it's going to be called. This group that we're playing, like you mentioned, their style is to really, really get up and challenge you, and it's going to be a physical matchup at the receiver position at all the spots. But you can't put it on them. You have to work your technique, work your releases, and if you get calls, you get them, and sometimes you will, sometimes you won't, and I think a lot of the guys that coach this type of aggressive philosophy, they understand that with this is going to come, they're going to throw a flag here and there, but they're probably not going to throw it every time. So they kind of live and die by that technique and that philosophy, and we got to do everything we can to counteract it. Sometimes just getting guys in stacks and bunches, those types of things can help get guys free releases. Obviously, sending them across the ball, timely snapping it where guys don't have a chance to reset and get right on the line of scrimmage and get their hands on them. There's some things we can do to help them, but you can't move all the guys at once. So.
Was there any common trends? I mean, since that game, from a passing standpoint, I think you guys have popped up a lot of numbers, and especially Justin's had some great games against them. Like, did you guys just kind of find ways to counteract that? Did you find that they maybe not always as in receivers as they were in that one?
Yeah, I think it's like a division opponent where you keep playing them, they keep playing you, they keep coming up with some good wrinkles off things that they've shown you, and we're trying to do the same, and it's been a heck of a back and forth really playing these guys, and I know they've got the best of it the last couple of times there, but it's going to be a great challenge. I mean, Terry Glenn's a good coordinator, and they've got a physical football team, and it's obviously each game is big, but to come back home and be in the division against the Lions is certainly a big one.
As you mentioned motioning Justin, I mean, I don't know if it's more this year than it's been, but what kind of work has gone into allowing you guys to be able to move them as much as you guys have?
Well, we have every formation you could possibly have, so and then you can it just allows us to get not just Justin, but where we want the next guy and where we want the next guy, and kind of variations of formations. We want this guy on the ball, this guy off, like all. We got a term for just about everything, and really what goes into it is those players individually learning it and understanding it, being able to break a huddle and go get lined up, and we try to get some packages of things where there's some similarity, where we don't have every single formation or variation known to man, but and then you can kind of line up in the formation and you break the formation, or you can motion to that formation, kind of build the formation. So a lot of different looks we can give that hopefully, give the defense something to think about that aren't as complicated us. But right from the start, I think learning this offense is you better know the formations, because we're going to move guys around, move guys where we think is, the best place for each guy to be in whatever concept we run.
Wes, so kind of along those lines, as you watch Kevin O'Connell kind of pull the trigger on plays and order up what he's going to call from the menu, how have you seen him grow or evolve in that role over the last couple of years?
Just the way, Kevin just sees the game really well, and I think he's evolved in how he game plans and schemes for a defense, but he's always been a great play caller. He's always just had a good feel for in-game kind of, even when he wasn't calling the plays, in-game kind of what's happening out there, seeing it in real time. That's kind of, I think, sometimes the separator is these guys that just, they're seeing it more in real time and having a feel for it and understanding like kind of what plays are in that we could get to without necessarily having to look down at the sheet. And Kevin's always been able to do that and have that feel for that. And, as he's gone on, the more he does it, the more experience, the better he is in that aspect. But there's a lot of layers to calling a game, and a lot more layers than you think sometimes. And sometimes I'm even surprised, hey, we need that play in because of this situation. Say, oh, that's interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that, So, yeah, he's good.
Just with Dalton Reisner and his window opening, I guess what did you see from him on the right side? Because he spent most of his career just playing on the left, and how much different is that for a veteran player to go from always playing on the left to the right side?
Yeah, I didn't see a lot of difference really as far as when he was taking reps on the right. Usually it takes those guys a day or two just to kind of get used to just switching that stance the other side and kind of being a part of the right side calls as opposed to the left. But usually the pros who've played offensive line most of their lives, they can usually make that adjustment pretty quickly.
What have you thought of watching the vision that Flo had for this defense from last year to this year, from a schematic standpoint, and fitting the personnel to that, and watching that transform from the end of last year to now?
It's been awesome. Yeah. Flo's like the mad scientist in there, just understands protections, understands what gives offenses issues, understands some of the looks he presents and what kind of plays that kind of eliminates from the plan that they may not even have to work on, that a team might do quite a bit throughout the year. It just got a really good feel, and then plays off of the things that he's done or shown in the past, and been willing to evolve. Playing some coverages this year that we're not playing last year. So he's evolving as a coach. The defense is evolving, and then the players within it to get the additions that we had, and then to have the guys, the Harrys and the guys that can kind of make a lot of this stuff go and make the calls. It's just been awesome to see. The turnovers that they've been, the takeaways that they've gotten have been, huge game-changing plays and really allowed us to win a lot of these games. So it's been really great, yeah.
Wes, you guys talked a lot about play style this year and kind of drilled in on that. Like, how much of that is because of the way teams like Detroit play and teams like San Francisco? Like, how much of that focus was knowing who you might have to face down the road?
Yeah, I don't know that we were really thinking about anyone else. I do think that somehow, whether it's conscious or not, I think divisions in this league kind of start to kind of mesh and be the same kind of feel. The AFC North, all those years, those. I remember when I first got in the NFC East. It just everyone was huge. Both sides of the line were huge. It was like, I don't know if it was conscious at first, but it's like someone reacting to someone. We need bigger guys. They got big guys on the offensive line. We need bigger D linemen, and I think these divisions kind of end up somehow, fitting to each other in some ways. But, for us, it was really about us. It was really just our play style, how we wanted to look as an offense, how we wanted to run the football, to be able to come off and kind of control the line of scrimmage. All those things was really more centered on us.
What's left of their pass rush now that Hutchinson's out?
Quite a bit's left. Yeah. Those interior guys are really good players, McNeil and Reeder. Pascal, who came in after Hutchinson, is a really good player. I mean, I was impressed with him last year when he was playing in the game, and then they have very extensive pressure packages, particularly on third downs. Anzalone's a very good blitzer. They'll bring him on early downs or third downs. They understand protections. They understand, kind of what they're doing when they blitz. They're not just throwing things against the wall and seeing if it sticks. So it's going to be a big challenge for us, and try to give these guys a great plan for it and see how it goes. Thanks.